The Radio Forest Podcast.
Christopher Titus calling in.
Titus, what's happening, man? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How about you? How's life?
Life is pretty good. Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. You're in Boise. Life is always good in Boise, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. What'd you do for your birthday? A little surprise party, right?
Yeah, man. It was, dude. They did we used to do a Prince party every year since he died, and so they kind of combined it to that. And they put my face on all Prince album covers. And the Love Sexy album cover where he's naked, they put my head on him. And, dude, it was the most disturbing thing walking into the party and have that thing dead center. It was horrible. And they left it up all night. So, yeah, my friends are a-holes pretty much.
What's the tie-in with Prince? Why did that start?
I'm a huge Prince fan since literally since the 80s. And we always, after he died, I mean, dude, at one point I had a buddy of mine's wife designed his wedding to mate. And I actually had a white chocolate dolphin and a napkin from the wedding in a glass case at my house. So I'm a little Dennis about Prince. You know, Prince is amazing, man. His music has always been the best in the genre he can do it. He's the best there ever was. So I'm a little bit nuts about it. And so my wife threw me a surprise party, and people flew in, and it was awesome.
Did you ever see him live? I saw him once, and he did nothing but medleys, so I was a little disappointed. He did, no full songs. Surely you've seen him live.
The whole
then, right?
time.
Yeah.
That would have annoyed the crap out of me. I saw him 4 times live. I saw him once. One time I saw him at the Roosevelt, and he's 5'1", and I was standing up, and he snuck out to start the show and was standing right next to me, and it was the first time I took Rachel to see him, my wife, and she just starts freaking out behind me and go, "What?" And I turn around, and Prince is standing right next to me. And he was getting a laugh off me because I'm so tall, and he's looking up and the spotlight's on him. And I'm like, it was this little tiny room in the Roosevelt. And then he jumps, dude. The dude jumped in the air, floated to the edge of the couch like a cat, and started dancing on the edge of a couch. It was bizarre. It was bizarre. My Prince obsession, because now I start to realize how psycho I sound.
I get it. And I talked to the guitarist from Def Leppard, and he talked about how good of a guitarist Prince was because he played guitar with him on stage at the Experience Hendrix tour. And I didn't realize he was such a great guitarist because, now since he's passed and I've seen more stuff, but yeah, a lot of people sing his praises that are famous musicians. They're he's beyond anything you know, and he could do all different instruments. So I think it's understandable.
Yeah, Bono said once, Bono said, "I love Prince almost as much as Prince loves Prince."
That's a lot. Yeah.
So the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh my God! When
he came out, did the solo.
When he's doing that George Harrison song. Oh my God!
Yes, he was pissed because Jan Wenner didn't put him on the list of 100 best guitarists of all time. So he asked if he could do the solo. Came out during the rehearsal, did a 1-minute solo. Came out during the show and did a 45-minute solo.
I like when Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne and Harrison's son are looking at each other and just laughing because Prince just goes nuts.
At one point, you see Petty looks pissed, and then at one point, you see him give it up. He just gives up. Oh, I guess you're going to play forever. Cool.
Now, you mentioned you're coming to Boise. This is the Carrying Monsters tour. When's this new?
No, it's a new show. Carrying Monsters is filmed. This is an all-new show called Death Wish because America seems to have a Death Wish.
Oh.
Yeah, this is it's all brand new material, man. It started because I had to get a DNA test. I didn't have to get a DNA test. No waitress, showed up with a kid with a giant head and Gary Busey teeth. That didn't happen. So I had to go get the DNA test. And it's weird that we even do this. My wife actually gave me for Christmas a DNA test, which I find aggressively suspicious. It's so are you trying to figure out when I'm going to die or when you can cash in the life insurance? What's going on with you? I was kind of you can't force me to give you my DNA. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to send it in and pay you to look at it. Then you can tell me how many trailer siblings I have in towns where my dad took business trips. So I found out that my family was here for 400 years. The Tituses have been here from 1628.
Wow.
And we own nothing. No bank, no farm, nothing. We're losers, dude. And I found out I'm white. And I don't mean I'm white, dude. I mean, even for Boise, I'm white. I'm 40% Scottish, 40% English, 11% Irish, 3% Finnish, 3% Welsh, and I guess 2% paper plate. Jesus Christ. When you go to Home Depot and you go to the paint aisle on the chips, I am on the albino side of Swiss coffee. That's how white I am. The Tituses didn't sleep with any slaves. It's crazy how white I am. I'm so white they actually gave me a handicap parking pass when I go to a dance club.
That's honestly why I haven't done mine, is I thought I was Irish and Prussian, And then someone else did like the 23andMe thing, like uncles of mine. And they're like, oh, no, we're not Prussian, we're Irish. I'm like, so I'm Irish. And that's just kind of, I don't know. I wanted something more exciting. I was kind of like, I don't want to do it now because like, oh, you're also a little bit of Scottish. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I get sunburns and I have a drinking problem. Like, I know I'm Irish.
We got that already. The 3 times in rehab pointed out that I was Irish.
Yeah.
It seems like such a dumb idea. I mean, first of all, if you get a DNA test, what's going to happen is like the best you're going to find out, the best news, you're going to find out, oh, that's my real mom and dad. Damn it. Which kills the fantasy that you have a billionaire dad who's going to fly you in on his jet to his mansion, and then you and the butler are going to clean up Gotham. It's just the worst idea. At best, you find out you get so bitter about your real parents that you become the Joker. So anyways, I did my DNA test, and being as white as I am, it just freaked me out. So that traced down to all this. So the new show is all about the Titus through the last 400 years in America. And it's been killing, man. It's weird, but it's been killing.
You were political for quite a while. Is it politically based at all, or no? This is just pretty much like you said about the DNA testing from there.
I've always done a show like when I did Norman Rockwell's Bleeding first. I did that first. That was about my family. The next show was called Fifth Annual Man of the World Tour. That was about social problem. That was about 9/11 and raising kids in the world coming apart. And then because the Iraq War was still going on. Then I did Love is Evil, and then I did Neverlution. So I've always gone back and forth. Carrie Monster was all personal. This one's a little more kind of about the history of America, like why we're still like this. But it's not about specific issues. I found that if you do it about specific issues in time, the show's dead after 3 years. You know what I mean? You want to write something that's timeless like Carlin did. Notice 4 years ago, maybe for eight years, the last 8 years has been like people had picked a side. And if you did anything political about something, either side they didn't like, they would get mad. That's kind of gone away now. People are kind of like, every once in a while, I do a bit on immigration in this one, but because the Tituses were immigrants. Because we were here 400 years and we still came here on a boat. And I'm trying to point that out. And, no one gets mad. It's like it's something has changed a little bit. People want to get back to a normal time. It doesn't work this way. The splitting up doesn't work. So I think it seemed taking 8 years, but I think they're like, you know what? I just it was even the last night's debate with Walls, whatever side you're on, but at least it was cordial, like no one was going, your mother. No one was like, so I think we're all tired. And I'm trying to walk this line with this show where, it's all about our history. It's all about why America seems to lose its mind every about 60 to 80 years. Is
this a special coming out, or is this kind of the show, or what's the timeline of the newest special?
Carrie Monster's coming out. Them coming out in a few months. We're talking to Hulu right now about it. And then this one, it takes me about 6-8 months to build a new one. So I'm about 5 months into this one now. So I'm almost to it being finished and breaking out, and then I just work on it. I wanted something, man. I mean, here's how white I am. I keep getting recruitment letters from the Klan, and so I read them, I fix the misspellings, and I send them back. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I started when I was a teenager, man. I've been doing this a long freaking time, and it's the best. I still love it like breathing. I get on that stage, and it's the best time ever. Like we got the new show I've only been like maybe 3-4 months into this new show, and I got a standing ovation in Indianapolis, and it's just the best thing I've ever done, man. I hope to go out on stage. I hope, whenever it is, it's 50 years from now, 30 years, whatever. I hope you read that Titus died on stage. Like, oh, he had a bad set. No. He died, and everybody thought he was doing a bit. That's what I want. Well, that show's coming to Boise November 23rd at the Knitting Factory. And I also saw that it was this year or last year, you guys kind of had a little bit of a Titus TV show family reunion. What was that, like a tour? I saw you're back hanging out with Zach and all the gang. No, we did over COVID, man. We shot 2 episodes of the show. I wrote, so we couldn't work. I couldn't go to comedy, couldn't do anything. So I called the cast because they were no one's making any money. Even Stacey Keach came in. And I have a studio, and I wrote 2 new episodes. You can go to my Christopher Titus TV, and you can see the 2 final episodes of Titus that I wrote. We shot it like a normal sitcom. It came out great. Keach was great, and we got everybody back on the show, man. It was awesome. Is there any chance of continuing that and pitching it again, or is it kind of that ship has sailed? It was fun to do that, and you're just so busy. There's other things going on. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have something, and we're talking to people. 20 Television said if you guys want, if a network will do it, I came up with an idea. I have it. I'm finishing it now, and we're going to take it to them. So, yes, possibly. Put the good energy out there, people. Let's get Titus back on before Stacy Keach cranks out.
And you also kind of touched on it in the show, Titus, but how many cars do you still have? What are some of your favorites?
You have to minus the divorce. You have to minus how many vehicles disappeared because of the divorce. So I'm back up to I had 13 at one point, different hot rods. Now I'm building 3 right now.
What are you working on?
65 Corvette. That's my dream car. I think I'll probably be buried in that, because my kids ain't getting that damn thing. And then I did a 65 Chevelle 2-door wagon that was full custom that Chip Foose kind of guided me on. I built it, but he guided me on it. And then I did a 69 GTO, which with a 455 out of a 70. So I've got those are 3 that are going on right now. And I just had so many cars at one point that I didn't have enough house to have the cars.
Oh, I can completely relate to that. If I could design my own house, it'd be a tiny house and like a 5-car garage.
I would do like a lair.
Yeah.
I think you need to build a Gru lair with some minions that work on cars for you all the time. Maybe 4,000 to 5,000 square foot thing under the house. That's the way to go.
Yeah, and I always say, I don't think about my exes and what they're doing. I wonder about the motorcycles and cars I've sold. I'm like, does anybody know what it takes? Did they get this? Are they doing it okay? Did they crash it? Do you have, surely then, I know the answer is yes. What cars do you regret selling? Like which ones do you still think about?
There's 2 cars, actually 3 cars that I track constantly that I had to sell that my ex made me sell. I offered to pay for them. I offered to give her half. She said, no, we have to sell them. So we sold them at auction. It's a 56 Chevy that I had since I was a teenager, since I was 18. It's sitting in a half-assed museum right now. And then I had this 56 Chevy wagon, that 2-door wagon, that Foose also built, and it is in Florida now. And I almost got it back. And the guy sold it to somebody else. So that guy, I've got a hit out on that guy.
Yeah. You said your ex-wife, with these cars, she's still kind of using the name Titus on Instagram. Is that a little weird, or is that just me?
Well, it's weird.
Right, that's your name, and the divorce was so long ago. It's like, what's the reason? I don't understand.
Because a lot of her family's still in rehab or currently in their 50s living in the same house that their parents had.
Well,
at least I have something going on. I don't care about it, man. But you made me laugh because I don't think about my ex at all, but I sure as hell think about the cars that I lost because of my ex.
Yeah.
How many divorces have you had?
I have 0 divorces. I'm on my first marriage, but there are some people that I would forget that I was with for a while, or I forget the name. But if I see the same car that I had, I'm like, oh, I had that, but it was blue and it was 2-tone and it was an 89. And I put a different drive shaft in it, and I sold it to this guy, and I think he's an idiot. I bet it's in a junkyard. And then my wife's like, oh, how do you know so much about the car that you left? I'm like, I shouldn't have sold it, but I had to, or I made a rash decision, or you know how it is.
Yeah, because the car was a more intimate relationship than our relationship.
Yeah.
I rubbed my hands all over it, washing it. I knew every inch of that car. What are you talking about? I touched that car more tenderly. I waxed that car. I knew when that car was great. I wish people would just get it. If you're a car guy, you're a car guy. That's awesome, man. That's really funny. Because I'm the same way. The motor was actually, people are looking at you like you're crazy. That's why I like hanging out with car guys. It's a different breed.
I sold a really classic motorcycle I had, a bobber, and the guy was totally a chopper guy, and I was so excited. I was like, oh, man, I got the manual, and here's the manual, and here's the original oil filter I took off, and then I bought another seat, and here's another fender. I was so happy the right dude got it. And then I helped him take it to his garage, and he opened up his garage. He had more bikes, and I'm like, dude, I'm so happy that you're buying this bike because I'm not riding it. He just was like, all right, man, calm down. It's okay. It's okay.
All right, quick story. When I had the 13 cars, I had built this 95 Mustang up out of nothing. It was a GT, but I built it up. It had heads. At one point, it had a Novi supercharger. It was running about 680 horsepower at the rear wheels. Problem with the car is that the Novi supercharger is a centrifugal supercharger, so it would kick in 150 horsepower at 40 miles an hour, which turned the car into the most dangerous vehicle because it would haze the tires. It would light the tires up at about 45 miles an hour, and then it would go sideways. So I sell it because it's dangerous. It scared me, and that doesn't happen usually. I have a drag racing license. It scared me. So I sell it. This guy shows up with his kid, and his kid's 16.
No.
And he goes, yeah, I'm buying it for my kid. And I grabbed him, and I go, hey.
You can't do that.
This is the dumbest car you could possibly buy for your kid at 16. He goes, why? He's cool. He goes, no. I go, no. And I explained to him that this thing will just jump sideways. And he buys it for his kid. Here's what I find out. 3 months later, I run into the kid. He got T-boned by a lady in the T-Bird. But I said, well, I go, you never had any problems with the car? He goes, well, my dad took it up on the 101 on the on-ramp, was in third gear, punched it, and when it hit about 45, 50, the car went sideways across 3 lanes of the 101. Gosh. It didn't hit the barrier, but it stopped in the shoulder by the barrier. So the dad almost killed himself in it. So I get what you mean. I can't give this car to an idiot.
Yeah. Well, Zero Side Effects came out in 2023. You can see that, Christopher Titus, on his YouTube page. You've got Carrying Monsters coming out.
Well, if you believe in conspiracy theories, go watch Zero Side Effects. You'll be so angry. And then Carrying Monsters is coming out, and my new one, Death Wish, this tentatively titled Death Wish, is probably the best thing I've ever done. I'm shooting for Carlin level on this one. Yes.
November 23rd, Knitting Factory. You're back in Boise again this year. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Christopher Titus, thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Sorry, we got too much in the weeds on cars, man. I'll talk to you later, brother.
I love it. See ya.